My new book, Pillars for Life, A Guide to Spiritual Ethics and Practice, is now out and available for you to read and purchase. You can check out our website, willowhealing.org, to find a link, or you can find it on Amazon. We look forward to getting your feedback, and if you love it, please leave a review and share with your friends. Now it's time for the show. Welcome to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We are so excited to have you joining us on this journey where we explore different ways to empower your soul, whether it's healing in your kitchen or all the way up in the corporate world. Come with us as we look into different ways to heal your mind, body, and soul. Hey everyone, it's Catherine from Willow Healing, and today I'm here with Kelly Sawad. So she is a mindfulness and wellbeing facilitator and a certified rest yoga Nidra meditation teacher. Through the power of breath, mindfulness, and self-love, she helps others find the place inside themselves too. Spending a long time lost in anxious cycles, Kelly knows how difficult it can be to lose confidence with yourself. Searching for answers in all the wrong places. If you are not feeling lost, stressed, or unloved, it's not forever. So if you are feeling stressed, lost, or unloved, it's not forever. No, it isn't. And through small changes, we can create the shifts destined to feel connected once more. So a big welcome to the show, Kelly.
Oh, thank you, Catherine. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here with you.
I love that I made that grammar error because it just shows how important small words are too.
I know, and I love your voice. What time is it where you are?
Well, it's just gone after 6 p.m. And I think, I don't know if we're a day ahead, so it's Friday here.
Yeah, so it's Friday here, but 9 a.m. So
Okay. Well, hello from the future.
thank you. I like that.
So, Kelly, you've had quite a bit of a journey. Where did you want to start with that? Because I feel like there's a bit to unpack there. So I trust you to start wherever you feel to lead us to who you are today.
Okay, well, from a mindful perspective, I suppose we can only ever start where we are. So right now, where I am in this moment, I'm feeling pretty good, but it's taken me a really long time to feel that way because I suffered with anxiety for a really long time, which is what led me into the work I do, to the book that I wrote, and all the doors that have started opening for me has been through that discovery of myself and just really stripping everything back because for a long time I can see I was buried quite deep for a while there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess we all go through those places, and it's when we can get out of it and see how we, like, reflect on how we got there in the first place, but then also make that conscious choice to change, right? Because if we don't make that conscious choice, then nothing's ever going to change.
Exactly. And that's so key what you said because we have to want to make that choice. It's not easy and it's not smooth sailing, but we have to want to make the change because otherwise things just stay as they are. And that's really draining. It kind of robs you of your time, because we have, I mean, I know time is just a concept essentially, but we are bound to it to a degree. And I think a lot of it is lost thinking we don't have time or we don't want to be present because things feel so overwhelming. So discovering how I was able to actually be with what was going on and then make that change, tiny steps at a time, but it really has led to huge moments of wonder and discovering new things and people and so much that I'm passionate about now.
Yeah, and I love that you brought up that point too about, kind of questioning too where you are, because it's when you look at your emotions and can step back from them and see what's triggering you or what's causing you to go into that overwhelm and into that spiral that can be really, really powerful. And, because the emotions and the wounds never fully go away, right?
Exactly. I think that's such a key point, what you said. We're not, even when I'm working with people or running a class where we do a meditation, we're not trying to get rid of things at all. We're trying to we're not even trying, we're just being open to be with what's there and welcoming what's going on and realizing that I was addicted to anxiety. When I had that realization, it was crazy really, but because I was able to take a step back, write about my experience and understand, oh, okay, when something big happens, I decide to obsess about this because that's far easier. I know how to do that. And yeah, just little by little, just unraveling from a different point of view, we can be aware of so much. And the moment we welcome things in, they almost dissolve by themselves. It's the pushback that keeps them stuck, I think. So, yeah. And
Yeah. Ex- yeah,
sorry,
exactly. And
Karen.
sometimes, oh, yeah. It's just sometimes exactly that little voice in the head. It just wants to be acknowledged. And sometimes the more you try and push it away, and then, especially if anyone's tried to meditate and then 100 things come into your head all at once. And it's like that monkey mind, right? It's like again and again that all those
Mm,
things. Sometimes the best thing you can do is go, thank you. I'll do that later. And then it will just disappear. You just have to
yeah.
acknowledge it. And it can be the same with emotions. Like, okay, I know you're there. I can feel you. Thank you. This isn't an alignment. I'm moving on now. Thank you.
Exactly, because the more that we do that, and I love that word alignment, but I think we fall into that place, we come back to that center and things start to feel settled. And I think the hard thing is when you understand the things that are challenging or you welcome them in, it does open you up to realize, oh, okay, maybe that isn't right anymore. Maybe I need to be in different spaces or do different things. And really, that's where the challenge is. It's not sometimes the thing itself. It's again, having to be brave to make that change so that you can come home to who you are, really like trust that place inside and move forward from there, because ultimately we've got all the answers. We feel what's right and wrong. Our body responds to that. And energetically, it's, yeah, I mean, there is so much that we have inside. We just need to tap in and listen. And that's what I love about meditation, is just being able to be with that experience and really understand the kind of messages that kind of come through my own voice, essentially, because we listen to other people all the time. But how often do we pause and actually listen to what we have to say?
Yeah. And I love that you bring this up, because I was just talking with a coaching client today and she rang me up because she was having a bit of a crisis moment. She's like, I have two. She goes, no, I have three choices and I don't know which one to choose. And I said to her, okay, let's do a quick meditation. Right. So it's just, right, engage your breathing, tap into your body, drop into your heart. What's the first name that comes up? And she said this one. And I'm like, okay, now I want you to go for a walk, hug a tree. I actually said that, hug a tree,
I love hugging
bring
through.
yourself exact same, as you can see, and, drop back into your body. I said, you need to regulate your nervous system. I said, and then ask the question again. And she's a very intuitive person, but when you are in that, heightened state, it's really hard to drop back into your heart. And then she rang me a few hours later and she's like, oh my goodness, I went for a walk. I was having this walk, and she goes, and I was feeling really good. Like I was feeling more myself again. I hug a tree. She goes, and then I asked the question again, and then I got a different answer. And then I said to the universe, hey, if this is the answer, can I have a sign? And a baby
Oh,
white feather out of nowhere lands in front of her. She's like, okay, I know what to do now, but she just needed to, and she's there on the phone trying to get me to do that. And I said to her when she rang back, I said, I coach you differently now, right? And she's like, yeah, I know. And I appreciate it, because I had to come to that answer myself. I said, it's not my life, it's yours. And I think what you shared, Kelly, is that reminder that we do have all the answers within us. Sometimes we just need that support and that guidance to help us get there, and that's why I'm guessing you became a meditation facilitator.
yeah, definitely. And probably the same with yourself, because really we're just creating these safe spaces for people to just tap into what they already know. And I love signs. I'm actually obsessed with signs, because I really
Same.
listen. And, the more you see and numbers and words and everything. And I was talking to a friend of mine last week, actually, and we were talking about, if you flip a coin and it's like heads or tails, it doesn't really matter what you want, because it's your feeling about what happens that's the answer. So it's like, heads, I'm gonna see this person today, tails, I'm not. Now if you get tails, you're not, but you feel crushed, you want to see them. That's the answer. You don't need the coin. you need to trust, it's,
Mm.
and we do so many things like that. And I love seeing, number signs, in the sky. I mean, I am obsessed, and now I am trusting the experience and just the energy of everything around us. And it's a really beautiful thing.
I love this because I haven't talked to anybody about this. I'm excited where this conversation's gone, Kelly. So, because years and years ago, I was looking at starting my own practice back when I was a speech language pathologist, and um, I was working for like I was working two places, and one I just knew wasn't aligned anymore. Actually, I'd already left there at that point, but I was really contemplating what I wanted to do with my career. And I kept seeing three crows everywhere, just constantly, always three. Never one, never two, always three. And so I just Googled because I was curious. I'm like, what does it mean to see three crows? Something significant's going to happen with the female in your life. I was like, oh, okay. And that day, driving the car, one of my female bosses rang me because it was a partnership. And she offered me her share of the business. Like she just said, hey, I'm going to offer it to you. And I was like, the signs were true. And I was like, okay. And then when I started my own spiritual journey, I'd always say, if I'm in alignment, I want to see repeating numbers. That was my thing. If I'm in alignment, I want to see like repeating numbers. And when I know and I feel like in my heart that I'm having like a really aligned day, I will notice the 303, the 404, the 606, like, and you just intuitively know to look at the clock at that time because it's almost that reinforcement. And it's, how would you know to look at the top clock? Or, you'll see 88% on your battery, or you'll see, you go to pay for petrol and it's 55.55 or something like that. And you're like, okay,
Yes.
all right, thank you. And it's amazing, right? How, like you said, when you're open and you're looking for those signs that they just come in from everywhere.
They do. It's crazy. I see, number plates, or if I'm in the flow and I'll be like 777, am I on the right track? I'm like, yes. Or, changes, and you'll see fives, or songs are a huge thing because of like with my
Oh,
love on the
yes.
radio and with music. If I hear a song when I get in the car, I'm like, right, okay, give me a message. The next song, I'm in. And there'll be something every time. We can really trust these things all around us. It's so powerful. But when you're clogged up with anxiety, depression, you're not in the flow and you're not aligned, you miss all this stuff. And it almost sounds crazy. I mean, for someone that's bogged down in an anxious state, how I lived for a while, if someone said to me, trust the signs, I think I'd have probably told them where to go because I didn't have
Or
the
like
energy
wanted
to.
to punch them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly that.
and exactly. And if for my client, if she hadn't gone and done those other things first, and that feather still appeared, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have noticed that that was a sign because she still would have been in that really anxious and overwhelmed state. And it's when you are in that more anchored position that you can get that magical sign. And
Mm.
often I'll say to people too, if you're asking for a sign, don't forget to actually look for them after you ask for them, because so many people will go, I prayed for a sign and nothing happened. And it's like, hang on a minute. Didn't you just tell me this happened, and this happened? Oh, yeah. You don't think any of those lined up with what you asked? Did
Yeah.
they? So it's like being really open. So it's not just, asking for a sign, but it's also looking for the sign as well.
Yeah, I know, and acknowledging that as well, I've started to think is really important. When you have the
Yeah.
sign and then you acknowledge it, then if you need like help or something, you're more likely to receive that response quicker.
Exactly. And because you've given gratitude and you've acknowledged it, it can be really
Mm.
magical. And I like what you said about the clouds too, because so often I will look up and see in the clouds and I'm like, huh, that really looks like an owl, and you'll keep driving and then you'll see a more formed owl, like, a couple of kilometers later, and you'll be like, oh, okay, I really need to look up what an owl is, what
Yeah.
that actually means.
Definitely. Yeah, I've seen some lovely, lovely signs, things in drinks, it might look like a heart shape, or that, it's just, there's just so much wonder and beauty out there. And we miss it when we're not present, which is why I think mindfulness is so powerful, because it just brings you back over and over, and your response is so much more powerful. because you're coming from a place where you're not sucked into the thing. You're able to,
Mhm.
really be kind of like the witness of that and trust your feelings and your judgment and all these kind of things far easier. And yeah, it's amazing, really.
Yeah, exactly. And exactly what you said, Kelly, being present is so important, because if you don't have that presence, then you don't notice anything because you're too stuck in the worry, from the past. You still, too, was it the worries from thinking about the future, and the regret comes from the past? Yeah. So you
Yeah,
get so stuck in
exactly.
those cycles.
Yeah, that's the anxiety depression thing, isn't it? The people that get stuck in anxiety, which was me, need control and they need to forward plan and obsess about what's to come. And the people that are depressed are stuck in that regret, like you said.
Exactly. So I guess I love that you have all this mindfulness stuff and mindful stuff, just stuff,
It's just
these- just stuff, just stuff. So when you're working with people, do you entwine that into your yoga practices as well, or do you keep them separate, or you find it's just evolving to a whole new thing?
it has evolved into a whole new thing, and I intuitively work now. So I think mindfulness and meditation sit underpin everything that I do, but I will often feel into what people need, even if I hold a meditation group. It depends on the energy of the room, what I'm going to deliver out. And sometimes I will kind of work with crystals and I'll hold them and I'll just trust the energy. And I wrote a bit of my book in that way as well, that the poems that are in there, I'd be in the woods and I felt like they were just coming in rather than, obviously it's my experience and attached to me, but I didn't really plan what the poems were. They were just there. So I just felt they had to go in. And it's the same with the way that I work with people. So I work one to one with people. I am a yoga Nidra teacher. I love all of that as well. But really, it's just about creating this safe space for people to open up to who they are. And that's not always pleasant as well. I say that to people when they come into a meditation group with me. You might not like this one, but that's okay. You're just allowing yourself the space to be with a bit of the difficulty, which you might not have been able to do at home, and that's great. So,
I love
yeah,
that. I
I'm kind
love
of
that.
free
You're just like,
flowing.
you might not like that one. Yeah, but it's almost, and I feel for someone that's coming to you with anxiety to say this might not be the one for you. It almost addresses their fears, and then they don't have to think about it anymore, right? Because you're just calling
Yeah.
out whatever might be in their head, and then pulling them back out straight away.
Yeah, I do. A lot of people come to me with anxiety, I think, because of my own journey, and I focus a lot on how important it is that people understand they don't have to have feelings of anxiety all the time. And they also need to know they are not anxiety. They're just having these feelings that are consuming because they don't know how else to move through something at that particular time. And that's
Yeah,
tough for
and that
people. It's really tough.
I feel that that's such an important point, because often, we can't always see where we are on our journey, right? And sometimes it's helpful to have someone there that's a supporter or a challenger to help you step out of that victim mindset as well, because often we'll go looking when we're a victim for someone to save us, or there's always someone to blame, or, that we get stuck in that victim drama triangle, and then it makes it really difficult to actually move into a place of power.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think that's a really important point what you said there. When you might say things out loud all the time, and I know I do, but the moment someone repeats that back to you, it's like you can hear your own voice and understand it from a different place. So with the restoration and the yoga nidra and deep rest work that I do, a lot of that working one to one with people is where I'll take them into a bit of a space and that we'll be connecting with their feelings. But it's like, what's beneath that? And then they'll say things. And then essentially, I'm just repeating that back. Okay, so you feel this, this, and this. And then they're then hearing it rather than being it. And yeah, I just find this work so fascinating. I'm learning all the time. And it just blows my mind how much fun we can actually have with this, the freedom that we can all get to, that we just don't think we have time for. The amount of people that say, I haven't got time, haven't got time,
Yeah.
but we've got infinite time.
And you
Essentially,
make
if we're
time, right?
present. Yeah.
Yeah, and you make time, you create time. And, even today, I was meant to have a really, really busy day. And I was meant to help my husband like prepare the house because we're having someone to come look at our house. And I knew he couldn't do it on his own. But I was like, you know what, universe, I need to help him. So let's just see what happens. Kelly, my whole day cancelled and rescheduled, and I didn't have to do anything, So, so for me, I'm like, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it was just that surrendering and just going, all right, I don't need to actually work this hard, and I can somehow this time will be created. And it does, and it always works out. And it's just about that trust as well, and letting the universe work and assist you. And like you said, when you're doing your intuitive healing, you're like, oh, I don't know why, but I feel to pick up this crystal today, and it will always be perfect for that group, right? Or that person you're
Yeah.
working with.
Yeah, it's fascinating what you say because I had an appointment, it was 2 days ago, and all morning I was thinking, oh, I'm really not feeling it. I'm really not feeling it. I don't feel this is the right time because of the space I was in. And then I got all the way there because I thought, no, I can't cancel last minute because I had a lot on. And I pulled up into the parking space and she rang and went, I'm so sorry, I've forgotten our appointment. And I thought, great, because it meant I was already up and ready and out, but I could go and do something else, but I didn't have to go into that space that I knew wasn't right for me today. But the universe had already answered this for me and it just didn't happen. So I was like, okay, you know.
I know. And it's so, and people, and I was posting on Instagram about it because I was like, hey, sometimes you just show up as yourself and magic will just happen. It's
Yeah.
purely magic, right?
Yeah, it is. It just, it blows my mind really. Now that I listen to I basically come from a heart space all the time now, best I can, because my head just gets in the way so often. And when I
Mm.
trust, yeah, from that place of love, I mean, we all just want that, don't we? Just that connection to people and things. And it comes from here, I think. And yeah, trusting that it's hard, but it's also beautiful at the same time.
Exactly. I agree. And when you learn to trust your heart, then things do align more, and then things fall into place. And like you said, you'll just get you just get appointments cancelled, your day rescheduled, and you haven't had to do anything, and you're still showing up, in your integrity, in your authenticity. You haven't compromised anything. You've showed up because you made that commitment to do it. And then for whatever reason, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. Oh, I love having this chat about all this stuff.
I know, it's fun, isn't it? And
Yeah,
tell us a
it is.
bit more about your book. So, what's your book about?
So my book is called Desperate to be Loved. And I've always loved writing. I used to write when I was young, but not really understand it, and I would burn things. And now, in the stuff that I do, I kind of, rituals and circles and fires, and it all makes perfect sense. But when I was young, because I had no one to speak to, I would often write things down, how I was feeling, and then I'd put them in a little pencil case tin, those tin pencil cases, and I'd like rip them up and just sort of burn the paper so no one knew what I was saying. But equally, I would be able to express what I wanted to say. And I didn't really think of it, but always loved journaling. And through the anxious times and the real difficulties and panic attacks that I had, I started to write about my experience, which essentially became my book. And a lot of people didn't really like the title, Desperate to be Loved, because I know the word desperate is quite bold, and who wants to be desperate, really? We shouldn't sit in that energy because we need to be in the flow. But that is how I felt. I felt so desperate to feel this love that I wanted. And I slipped into people pleasing and losing who I was because I was just trying to feel connected to something or someone, and nothing really felt right. And I then acknowledged through mindfulness and meditation and many other things that I needed to love and respect myself and see who I was. And when I started to do that, that love was kind of there. And now you just draw in so many wonderful things. Yes, I've had to lose a lot on this journey, but equally, I feel more me than I ever have before. And that's what the book's about, really. I've got, there's 13 chapters because 13 is my lucky number. It's
I
also
love
the
it.
number of the divine feminine and all this kind of like goddess stuff as well. But I was born on Friday the 13th. Um, I've got two children and 13 is relevant to them. My dad was born on the 13th, loads of 13 things. So there's 13 chapters, 13 poems. And then in each chapter, there's just a little bit about how I cope, anxiety. I'm just flicking through it now. Leaning into how we feel, surrendering, and yeah, trusting, like heart wide open is one chapter, and I just feel like we have to trust and do that. And I've had some really difficult times since writing the book. I haven't written this book and everything's okay. If anything, I'm learning more and more's changing, but it felt important that I just wanted to do it for me. It wasn't even about who really read it. I had to have power in my own voice and have value in it. Because I'd always hated hearing myself, and now I'm on the radio, so it's ironic. But when you hear yourself back, and it's like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Whereas now I've become comfortable with all these things. So yeah, so that's what my
I
book's
love
about, really.
I love that. Do you want to hold up your book so people know what to look for?
Yes, although
You
I've
can
just
do the little
realised
plug.
this one's got not for resale on, because this was my pre-copy, because it was when did I publish it? February 2024. So it's Desperate
Yes,
to Be
beautiful.
Loved, Little Notes of Self-Discovery. And it's just, yeah, about finding my way back to love and connection through things that help me, a tiny bit of my experience in there, and some poems, really. And it's just so that people don't feel alone with feeling, a bit
Yeah.
messed up there.
Yeah, and I love that you were brave enough to call it that despite what other people told you, because exactly when you're in that people pleasing state, you are desperate to be loved. I know personally, like through my first marriage, that's how I felt. I was constantly trying to, you know, make sure he was happy and make sure everything was okay. And, people please, people please, people please. And you just want this love in return. But at the same time, you've lost yourself completely. So I fully resonate. And well done for putting a book out and writing it and being brave enough to talk about it, because a lot of people don't want to talk about it because they hide behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's helped a lot, actually. It's really kind of given me some internal shifts that had been stuck for quite some time. And I think, yeah, just trusting. I felt like that was a huge leap of faith for me to do that, because I had that non-judgment. This isn't good enough. Why would anyone want to read it? All that kind of dialogue. And that imposter syndrome thing that we all get at points in different times of life, don't we? And it's hard. So
Exactly.
yeah, so
Well,
that's the book.
if it was always easy, Kelly, we would never grow. We would never learn
We
anything.
wouldn't. That's right. Exactly. That's so true. And there's a quote or something about change, isn't there? Yeah, but quite simply, if nothing changes, nothing changes. It's like that's kind of it.
Exactly. And, I think I heard somebody say that if you're not choosing to change and grow each day, then you're basically dead anyway. So I was like, oh, okay, that's extreme, but it makes sense, because if you're not choosing to live and choosing to grow, or, keep evolving as a soul, our soul's meant to have momentum and keep growing. Otherwise, it just dies, because you're just stuck in the mundane and you're stuck in these repetitive cycles that aren't really serving you.
Yeah, and we've come here to learn the things that we're here for, right? So we have to trust and learn
Exactly.
them. So
Exactly. Who
yeah.
wants to do it again next lifetime? Not me.
Yeah, not me either.
Not me.
No.
and and as we start to finish our time together, Kelly, I asked the guests that come on the show if they could heal or change something in the world, what would it be?
Oh, that is a big one. I think if we were all able to come back to that place of love and just trust in ourselves, the rest would just work for itself. That ripple would keep on going. Because anyone that's got anger, bullies at school, people that are doing terrible things, there's trauma sat behind that, and that loneliness. So the more we share our stories, the less alone we feel, and we have that connection. So I feel if one thing be for everyone to be brave to share something so that we could build that connection. And I truly feel that I just feel that would make a huge difference if we could just be brave to share, and then naturally that energy shifts, and everything's energy, right? So we just need to raise that up, and I think we need to share our stories. And it's great that you're doing things like this, and because these threads are so important. So thank you for having me, Catherine.
Thank you for being on, Kelly. And I wholeheartedly agree. It's one of the reasons why I did start this podcast, was so that people could share their stories and their alternative journeys, because sometimes you need to realize you're not alone. And that
Yes.
even if you don't resonate with everything, you might just be one part that's what you need to hear at that moment and at that time, and it can change your life.
Exactly. Yes, I completely agree.
And where can people find you, Kelly, if they want to come work with you or check out your book?
Okay, so my book is available on Audible. I did spend 3 days having to listen to my own voice. So Audible, Amazon, Kindle, Spotify. You can download it for free on there if you've got an account, I think. Anything to do with my business or wellbeing or the radio. My business is called Room 478. .co.uk or .com. On Instagram, I'm room_478, which is the platform I'm most active on. And on LinkedIn, I'm just Kelly Sawad. So, yeah, that's where you can find me.
Just
And
Kelly. You're just Kelly. The Kelly Sawad.
I like that, but I'm still not brave enough to say that, Catherine. I'll take it from
you. Okay, great. I'll make sure to include all of that in the show notes so that everyone can find you, and I will definitely connect with you on Instagram as well.
Oh, lovely. I look forward to it and seeing your journey going forward. So, yeah, thank you. This has been lovely.
Thank you, Kelly. It's been a delight.
It has.
Thank you for listening to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We have so much love and gratitude that you have taken the time out of your day to empower you on your healing journey. The views shared by the person being interviewed might not necessarily reflect that of the host and should be used at your own discernment. Trust what resonates for you and follow your heart and soul guidance. If you have any underlying medical conditions or mental health issues, please consult with your healthcare provider before pursuing any of the recommendations. Likewise, you can always contact the person being interviewed to find out more information. This can be found in the show notes. Remember to activate, align, heal, empower, and find love in everything that you do.